We think of it as a key tool of smart growth, transit-oriented development, as an example. But we also know that tools can be used for good, tools can be used for evil, or tools by default can have unintended consequences. And so, frankly, and this is what we have to say out loud, we have to speak truth to ourselves and into power. Transit-oriented development as a tool in and of itself will churn out inequity unless we intentionally seek to make it equitable. Equity is not the default option. And it's not the default option for, you can read this visual, but we all know that if you just plop a new development in a community without warning, or even with warning, but without the tools in place to ensure that the people there can benefit from it, that's where you get displacement. One of the talks that I like to do is everything you know about gentrification is half right. And that's because what we need to do is not fight gentrification. What we need to fight is displacement, right? So we don't need to say we don't want transit-oriented development in our community as policymakers responding to the needs of the community, as elected officials, or as a developer who just throws their hands up and says, look, I'm tired of all this, I'll go elsewhere. What we need to say is, what are the tools we can put in place to fight displacement of the people that are there? But that's just step one. It's not just, as I would call, fighting displacement defense. We also need to play offense. And the offense is, how do we make sure that there's equity advanced within the community by virtue of this development coming to it? And that means playing offense, meaning putting tools in place before we actually get to the development. Because again, equity is not the default option. If we just do what the market would otherwise do, we are almost certainly going to churn out inequity.